So the question was, what's it like to eat a raw oyster? How do you explain it? I don't know. It's like jumping in the ocean.
Kissing a mermaid.
Kissing a mermaid. I'm Steve Seymour, and this is my son Mark. We're the owners of the Drayton Harbor Oyster Company here in the small town of Blaine, Washington, just south of the Canadian border. Never expected to be in the food service business. We were just a couple of fish biologists turned shellfish growers. We opened a small little hole-in-the-wall spot next door here.
I had no idea what we were doing. We were selling oysters out of an ice cream cooler. But being a small community and us being, engaging with our customers and getting to know our neighbors, they were the ones that pushed us in a certain direction, which was, can you cook some of these for us? Can you shuck some of these for us? That quickly blew up. This has become an anchor for this community. So as I really look at it, started just to grow oysters and sell them into Seattle. We quickly evolved into a community hub that is an economical driver for the community.
We spent a lot of time and energy and passion creating this space. It literally feels like home. Wish you could all be here. It's a magic bay. It's about 1,200 acres of tidelands. Oysters have been grown in this space since the early 1900s. I got involved in oyster farming out here in the 1980s with a couple of Canadian partners.
Growing up, my grandpa, my dad, they were always on the water. So the chance to work on the water every day was intriguing, and I think we just jumped in and went for it.
Then I hired some extra help, Jeff Menzies, who at that time had moved out from the East Coast and was looking for an opportunity to work in aquaculture. So I hired Jeff, and him and I then took this business kind of to the next level. And we ran it as a for-profit business for several years, and then the bay's water quality deteriorated and the bay got closed.
That would have been 96, I think, 94?
Probably in about the mid-90s, and so it put us out of business. And so Jeff, when the business got closed, he said, I'm going to stick here and I'm going to get this bay reopened. And he partnered up with the Puget Sound Restoration Fund, Betsy Peabody. So Jeff and Betsy took the task on to connect with the community, to find out, really to identify what the insults were. And it was a combination of a major failing sewer treatment plant, failing septic systems, stormwater certainly, and then manure management from the dairy farms that are up in the upper watershed. It really has kept some of this focus on the bay, and again, for our purposes, it's selfish, but we want the community to focus on the bay. We want them to realize everything they do in the upper watershed ends up in the bay and affects our ability to keep the bay clean for producing shellfish.
It used to be dairy farmers and oyster farmers would just, go head to head, but now they're our customers. They come in and grab a beer, they buy me a beer and want me to sit down with them to chat. So that's a really cool piece of this place, is that we've created something where now we're able to work as a team versus, as adversaries and being stewards of the land and the bay.
This has turned out to be maybe one of the more important aspects of what we do here, is that opportunity to just keep reminding people that, this oyster is such a precious thing. And it's so unusual too to have a bay that's in an urbanizing basin that's still certified for growing shellfish. In today's world, we ought to be able to live in the watershed without poisoning the water.
Oyster farming to me is, working with the environment, working in the mud, using your hands, growing a product that you don't have to feed, you don't have to water. You have to take care of it, nurture it. You grow this gem of a product, you're able to harvest it yourself, bring it, offer it to the community as a protein source, make a buck on it, shuck it open, return it to the water as a shell that's going to propagate the next generation. It's this perfect circle, and it really is just working with Mother Nature, and that is incredible.
we're just so blessed. I mean, how many other oyster farmers do we know? You know, of all the things you can do in your lifetime, and to be able to do this is just amazing.
Today I'm up in Drayton Harbor and we're going to learn how to shuck freshly harvested Pacific oysters. First things first, a shucking knife. These come in a number of different varieties. My preferred knife is going to be a thinner blade, shorter blade, a little bit pointier tip. You can hurt yourself, so my recommendation is to grab an oyster, grab a pan, grab a rag, and that's to prevent any slippage. And oysters are held together top and bottom by what's called an adductor muscle, and that's going to always be on the top right-hand side. So about 3/4 of the way up, no matter if that shell's up here or up here, it's always going to be 3/4 of the way. So that's what we're going to sever to get this thing open. The preferred method for most folks is going to be opening from the back, which is called the hinge. Oyster's going down. My left hand, as I'm right-handed, is going very far away, but holding the top of the oyster. I'm going to put the knife in the heel of my hand. I'm going to apply pressure and begin to drill. That knife goes in fairly easy. It's about 1/8 to 1/4 of the inch in. And now I'm going to actually pick the oyster up. So I'm going to hold it all together to prevent any breakage, and I'm going to turn it like I was opening a door. You're going to hear it pop, and you'll see me kind of pause here. I'm watching the meat retract because this animal is alive still. And I'm going to work the knife along the top of the shell as if you were filleting a salmon and chasing the backbone. If you do it right, you're going to be left with nothing on that upper shell, which is awesome. So the final move before you're ready to enjoy it is to grab your knife again. And again, that little scallop looking piece is your adductor muscle. This is kind of like scooping ice cream for me. So I'm going to follow the shell, give it a little slip, I'm going to release it, spin the knife around. That oyster's free. Condiment wise, our preferred accompaniment would be mignonette or mignonette. I'm going to throw one back because they're amazing. Other pro tip.
Made There was made possible in part with the support of Visit Bellingham, Whatcom County.